Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you. It's with great pleasure that I join the Goy Peace Foundation for this event, The Source of Wonder, on sparking a divine reconnection. The world today is in deep need for a reconnection with values and ways of seeing things that transcends our immediate needs and interests and looks instead to future generations and the health of our planet. The COVID-19 pandemic has placed incredible stress on our national and international institutions as well as on all of us as individuals. COVID-19 has shown how problematic many of our previous habits were as individuals and in our societies. We need to rethink our attitudes towards consumption, not to fuel inequalities and further damage our planet. We need to grow in solidarity with those less fortunate than ourselves. COVID-19, while containing us in our homes, has also painfully reminded us just how interconnected and interdependent we are across the globe. It's affecting people all around the world, in all countries and communities, and hitting hardest those we've not sufficiently cared for. In that collective experience of suffering and anxiety, we must find the tools and actions to respond collectively to this challenge by showing more empathy towards one another, and also by thinking in more coherent global terms about the best means to find solutions to this problem and its aftermath. When the United Nations Secretary General decided last year that the UN would mark the 75th anniversary in a new and unorthodox way, focusing on a global reality check rather than a celebration, nobody then had ever heard of COVID-19. But even then it was clear that while global threats were multiplying, the multilateral system was ailing and in need of resuscitation in light of growing divides, isolationism, and loss of confidence. As the UN turns 75 years old this year, this strange birthday comes at a time of reflection for both the organization and for humankind at large. What kind of world do we want to leave behind? What kind of societies do we want future generations to live in? What individual and collective problems do we need to address better? And how do we best go about it? Most sages say change begins inside us. The crisis of COVID-19 is not just a health crisis. It is a call for each of us, individually and collectively, to pause and reflect on the change we want to see in the world. If we use this time of trial for the greater good, by reconnecting to these fundamental questions through whatever spiritual tradition is closest to us, we will find the spiritual and physical tools to overcome this crisis and build back better. Building back better for ourselves, for our communities, for our countries, and for our global and shared humanity. In very tragic ways, COVID-19 has highlighted the critical importance of the need for us to come together better. To put it bluntly, lives will be lost or saved depending on how well communities and countries can work together. How fast we emerge from this crisis will depend on our individual behavior and on the solidarity we show within our communities and beyond our borders. This is the meaning of reconnecting to one another, and it's also the meaning of multilateralism. As a means to reconnect to one another, the United Nations is currently engaged in a major listening exercise to hear your views about the future we want and the road to attain that future. We've developed a 1-minute online survey accessible at the simple website address un75.online, un75.online. We urge you to reach out to us. Do take the survey. Tell us about your fears and aspirations for the future of the world and your expectations of the United Nations. Only by listening to one another will we be able to overcome this crisis and build a better future for all of us. A cliché has it that every crisis presents an opportunity. The UN was born from untold suffering of the Second World War and hopefully can be rejuvenated and made fit for the next 25 years through the dark days we are living through now. Whether we will seize the opportunity or will let it pass depends on all of us. It will determine whether future generations will look back on us with regret or with admiration. We at the United Nations are committed to playing our role and to help reconnect the spark of nations working with one another in a spirit of amity and dialogue to better progress towards world peace and sustainable development. But we cannot succeed without your help and contribution. Please make your voices heard. We will be listening to you. Please let us make this 75th anniversary of the United Nations a special one where we might reconnect to the spark of peoples across the globe and deliver better for those we serve.